and in today's video, we're going to be looking at the tropics once again, which are booming with activity, and another few disturbances we'll be watching for potential development over the next few days in the Atlantic at the very least. Right now, we do have two simultaneous hurricanes that are occurring across the Atlantic, with Danielle and Earl being our primary areas of interest. Fiona could form over the next few days, but we'll also be looking at Tropical Storm K over the eastern Pacific, with potential landfall threats in Baja California, possibly some impacts in parts of the southwestern U.S. Looking at our Earl forecast here, we have now seen that Earl has finally strengthened into a hurricane, which marks the second hurricane of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, and the second hurricane that's currently ongoing across the Atlantic basin. So over the next couple days, it will turn eastward and continue to strengthen from here on, with likelihood of it becoming a major hurricane as it passes to the east of Bermuda. Speaking of which, Bermuda should monitor the progress of the system over the next few days, as impacts are probably going to occur across the island between Thursday and Friday. We will likely see this storm peak on Friday as a Category 3 hurricane, where it will start weakening after that, as it continues to accelerate to the northeast across the northern Atlantic basin. It will then weaken into a tropical storm over the weekend, and also complete its extratropical transition process, therefore becoming an extratropical storm. Moving on to the Hurricane Danielle forecast as it meanders across the middle of the North Atlantic. It is a weak hurricane at this time with 75 miles per hour winds. It will continue to move to the northeast a little bit slowly, and then it will kind of start to slow down even further as it's weakening into a subtropical storm, which will then make a loop across the Atlantic, and then it will continue to move to the south-southeast, where it will continue to move southeast towards Europe with unknown impacts to the Spain Portugal areas at this time. We will have to monitor that over the next week and see whether or not that's going to happen. We do see the storm will eventually end up heading in that direction, so those areas will over the next week or so start to monitor for changes in the progress of the system while it is a subtropical storm. Moving on to Hurricane K here in the eastern Pacific, it is currently a Category 1, 85 miles per hour hurricane, which is moving to the northwest. It will curve to the north towards the Baja California coastline. We do have tropical storm warnings, hurricane watches in effect for the southern half of the coastlines here. Now, we do see impacts expected across those regions, especially where we do have those watches up. However, we could potentially see the impact stretching all the way to the U.S. Southwest, which we will see the storm pass not too far from, but it will be curving to the west a little bit, so that might limit some of that some. However, storms rarely make land impacts in the U.S., so this is one of those times where we could potentially see some of those rarities across southwestern U.S., where we could see some of that tropical moisture streaming north into those regions and delivering beneficial rainfall in those regions, combined with the ongoing monsoon season we're having here, mainly across Arizona, but spreading into the surrounding areas as well. But it will also help potentially put a dent in the ongoing drought across much of the southwest that are likely not seeing much of the monsoon effects as of right now. So we will also be pointing out all of that in our upcoming U.S. weather forecast, which we will get to. So looking at our future radar here across the country, we will continue to see some scattered storms across the southeast region tonight, and some scattered showers across the mid-Atlantic region. And we could see some that pour into some of the northeast into Wednesday. And again, we'll continue to see that scattered pop-ups across the southeast here and there throughout much of the week. And we will also potentially be looking at some activity Thursday night into Friday across the northern plains. It is possible we could get some of that mountain snow down into the northern Rockies to Montana, Wyoming, along with that as well. Now, heading into Friday and Sunday, we do see that potential for there's some rain across the south central plains and upper Midwest regions, and some of the surrounding areas. we could see some more rain across southwest from the lingering effects of the tropical moisture that we would be seeing from Tropical K, which will eventually make its westward curve out and pull away from the shore. And it could potentially be a soggy weekend across the southeast and much of the eastern half of the United States, as we're looking at overall low pressure dominating much of the eastern U.S. with rain pretty much scattered widespread throughout, mainly in the Sunday into Monday. We're moving on to the temperature and rainfall forecast here across the country. We could potentially be dealing with a couple to possibly a few inches of rain across southeast. Like I said, that region is probably going to get sucked with that low that's making around across the Gulf Coast and some that's going to contribute to these hefty rainfall totals across the region. Other areas that could see some meaningful rainfall, including those from K. We could potentially see inches of rain across southwest California if that westward curve is not as major as the National Hurricane Center projects it to be. Of course, it really all depends on, and all the rainfall totals and everything. That's really mostly going to depend on when and if K will curve to the west, which is seeming likely by the day. But then we'll be looking across the destination here. Areas that could miss out on the rain, maybe, this is potential of course, this might change. Most likely going to be seeing some of the plains, such as Oklahoma, Texas, and areas over by the Canadian border, most likely miss out on the rain, as well as areas along much of the west coast. GFS also hints at some of the coastal northeast New England areas getting virtually no rain over the next week or so. But over here across the Midwest and Great Lakes regions, we could potentially see a couple of few inches of rainfall. So I'm saying like 1 to 4 inches, possibly across portions of northern Michigan, Wisconsin, while we could see some lower amounts down here across the West and Midwest, like just under an inch. So it's not a lot to help some of the dryness that's been going on across parts of the region. But over here in the plains, it's not really much better either. In fact, even worse than the Midwest Great Lakes region, especially close to the border regions. But Central Plains, we could get up to an inch or two of rain possibly, as that front kind of slows as it's progressing across the country over by the weekend here. And some that could lead to inch or two rainfall possibly. This is potential across Wyoming, South Dakota areas. And again, mountain snow is also possible across the northern Rockies, so I did want to hint that out. The monsoon season also continues with rainfall expected to occur with possibly up to an inch or two, maybe even more in some localized areas as monsoon storms continue to occur across the southwest. And then that is pretty much it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's forecast. Consider subscribing and liking this video if you do enjoy the forecast and would like to see some more of it, as we are heading towards the peak of the season very fast over here. So yeah, other than that, stay safe. Have a good evening, everyone. We'll see you in the next video, hopefully by Thursday or something. I'm gonna try